Snappers, you like spell your names like I've never seen it before. That's why when I sign my books, I have to ask, because nobody is Mary or Sue or Janet. You're all fancy. So fourth level, we talked about really fourth test one. We, again, tried to change fourth level so it was more enticing to ride and not such a jump from third that actually the Pre-St. George was easier. So some of the things that the judges said, more than the riders, was that the shoulder ends on center line were too difficult. That really is in the I-1 test, so why do we have it in fourth level? So we moved the shoulder ends in fourth level test one to the rail. We placed the extended walk on a diagonal instead of the half circle. And again, the half circle was one of those tricky things that we did to make the test work out so we could go that direction. But it didn't really help the rider have a good score for the extended walk, because we know extendeds in trot and canter have to be on straight lines if you read the freestyle rules. So to put the extended walk on a half circle, and not a very big one, we never really saw the best extended walks. And so I think our job as test riders a little bit is to create a test where the rider has a chance to get a 10. I remember years ago when we had the zigzags at Grand Prix with an extra 6 strides, we were like, who's ever gotten a 10 on that? Nobody. Ever in the history of the universe. So if nobody's ever had a 10, then maybe that's a little too hard. So our thought process is we need to make things a little bit more user-friendly. Fourth test 2, the extended canter is now before the working pirouettes to provide more activity going into the pirouettes, and the coefficients were moved from the trot half pass to the canter half pass. And then fourth 3 is like a whole new animal. It's a totally different test. So Kiana's horse is a little bit green and schooling fourth level test 1 and 2, so that's fine. I think what we will see probably is a little bit more of a realistic ride, because not everybody is, especially this time of year in the spring, ready to move up to the next level. And let's see, Kiana's horse, what does it say about your horse? He's an Andalusian and he's 9 years old. I think the black ones, I like the black ones too. The gray ones are a lot of work as far as grooming. And I don't like horse beauty parlor stuff. I had a groom from the Arab barn. She didn't really want to ride, but she loved to do beauty parlor stuff. And I was like, excellent. Just bring me a horse. I just want to ride them. I don't want to do all this brushing and washing and stuff. Okay, so now we have some challenges, right? Because we have collected canter to halt. So what we see, Kiana, which I'm sure you're not going to do, is people kind of galloping down center line, screeching to a halt, you know, walking a few steps and then trotting. So what we want to think about is you should have some ability now to create pirouette canter, because we're requiring some pirouette canter in fourth 1 and also test 2. Now we don't call it pirouette canter, we call it very collected canter, because if we called it pirouette canter, we'd have to put a whole new definition in the rule book, and God knows the rule book's already long enough. Right? Ugh. So we just called it very collected canter. But basically, if you think a little bit of some pirouette canter before the halt, it will create a better halt. Also, a little bit at this level, we should be able to see out of the halt a trot that makes the judge sit up. These riders in Europe, those first couple strides of trot out of the halt are a little bit like medium trot. I mean, it's big, it's uphill, it's expressive. So you want to think about, maybe not today creating that sort of idea, but eventually that the beginning of your test is where the judge either pays attention or doesn't. Okay? So you want to kind of come in and go, yo, you at seat, sit up, pay attention, right? Okay. All right, let's try fourth one, see how it goes. Okay, well, I'm not sitting up paying attention now. I've sort of got my head in my hands. Let's do the whole thing again. So, Kiana, if you were in shoulder 4 left, number 1, he wouldn't have his butt to the left. Number 2, his rib cage would be to the right rein and not pushed into your left leg, and you might have a chance of keeping him in canter. Little bit more bend to the left. And left leg, push him over there. So you stay up there into that rein. There you go, good job. We'll talk about that transition next. Make sure here your medium trot on either side of center line goes as much. Most of you are kind of cautious at the beginning, do your collected trot and then go like hell the second half. Try to make it the same. And no preparation, so it's a leg yield. There's no bend. Now we have some bend. So these two half passes each have separate scores. When you do a counter change of hand or a zigzag that has 1 score, we're told as judges we can't give higher than the worst half pass. So it's not really an average. So it's really important that we make sure that all the half passes are equal. Okay, here we have to be careful the haunches don't fall out when the shoulders come in. And these are square turns, good. Shoulder in right is better, and here she should straighten because it's finished. Now, Kiana, make sure you use this whole line for your turns, okay? Now, these are pirouettes because we have collected walk. So these cannot be 1 meter. These should be, we should see that inside hind leg go up and down. We should have some bend, and try to keep that bend all the way through the finish. In that direction, he had 2 steps against her outside leg, so the right hind went to the right. And the collected walk has very different movement from the front legs. You see one front leg reaches and it's very irregular. So unfortunately, the collected walk is going to get a low score, and the extended walk, well, it's jogging now, but it's also going to have a low score. because he doesn't stretch, he doesn't relax, and he has some irregularity. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. And canter depart needs to be straighter. That's a butt view for me. So shoulder 4, and then I wouldn't see the butt come in like that. Again, she needs a little bit, our 5-step plan for the half pass. Counter canter's good. And change is late in front. So sadly it's a 4 at 4th level and above when there's a mistake in the change. So the canter slows down, but I don't really see a closing of the joint. I need to see the hip get closer to the stifle. And she doesn't make him straight at the beginning, and so he hunches in. And anytime the horse is crooked, it's no more than a 6. Now prepare more, Kiana. Okay, she misses center line. So now the half pass is easier because she doesn't have as far to go. Okay, change was much better, and the counter canter was good. Now straighten first, straighten him. Yeah, you guys, you've got to remember the caboose comes around the corner and the turn's second. So if you go when it's only the front legs, you're gonna be crooked, you're gonna have a problem. Spanish men are a little bossy. I don't know if you know any, but they're really handsome, and I mean really good looking, but you don't really want to marry one. There you go, good job, good job. So again, unfortunately, when the walk is tense like this, it's going to take the gait score down. So with both walks, if only one walk is faulty, you can still go 6. But with both walks faulty, you're probably at 5.5. So it's very expensive. My thing, I think for me, he's balanced enough to do this. So I wouldn't go too low in the impulsion score. I would go more into the submission score. The bending is a problem. I've said a couple of times, needs bend, needs bend, needs bend. So when we have a pervasive issue, meaning something has happened more than once, then it goes down to the collectives. If it only happens once, like one Yahoo in one movement, then that stays contained to that movement, and we don't have to carry it down to the submission score. Make sense? So, and again, I think Kiana has a beautiful position in a very good seat, but I think her aids need to be more effective. There are certain things that she needs to be able to produce from the horse for more than a 6 in how she uses her aids. I would give you a 7 on how you look, for sure, okay? So I want to see the other test, and then we'll work on a couple things. Sound like a plan? Okay. One thing I want to say too, well, we'll see what the other 4th level horse, this horse has the correct frame where we say the collected walk should look proud with the neck raised and arched. So the medium walk has a lower, longer neck and a longer stride. So the collected walk has a little bit more activity and a little bit different frame. Okay, are you going to read 4th test 2 for her? Okay, so let's do that. Good, keep a little shoulder four left. Collect. Whoa, make him stand there. Whoa. Now, let me tell you something, Kiana, while you're making him stand there. When you enter in canter, you have more weight to that inside seat bone, correct? So, if you're gonna trot out and not confuse him, you have to first move this outside leg forward, and now you have to get even on your seat bones. So when you trot and you push him forward with your seat, he doesn't think it's canter. Okay? Ho, ho, he has to stand there. Good boy, good boy. Now forward. Better. So that's a little tricky, you guys, to go from canter, halt, trot. You have to really pay attention to what your seat bones are doing. So here we want a good shoulder in, then we want you to straighten on the diagonal, half halt, and then medium. If you don't straighten and make sure that he's not drifting left, you're probably going to have irregular or canter. And make sure here you have time to go straight before you turn. So we never want to turn in the direction of the half pass. We don't want to go half pass, turn. Again, that teaches the horse to turn in the direction we're going, and he has to wait for an aid. That was nicely done. And now a transition right here. Boop. Don't run through the corner. Now let him have a longer rein, just long reins. What does he do? Longer, longer, longer reins, longer. So Kiana, that's a better walk. I would sacrifice the contact for the quality of the walk. It's less punitive. That's a double coefficient. And then when you pick up the reins, bend, leg yield him so he doesn't brace his body and jog. Think shoulder in right now. Bend him and push him off your left leg and use your right rein to make him rounder. And say walk, walk, bend and give, bend and give, bend and give, alternating legs. When he's jogging, do not take your legs off. Alternate, left, right, left, right. Don't use both legs at the same time. Alternating seat, alternating legs, left, right, left, right. When you feel his tummy come into your leg, swing back against it a little bit. Bend his neck a little. He's going to do a good freestyle for you, for sure. We'll just let him decide what to do, and we'll play some music. No, we're not piaffing. This is fourth level. Just use your left leg. Don't bend him a little bit to the right. And now, use your right leg. Good. And then canter. Good. Straight first. And you miss center line again. See, those are points you don't need to lose. Don't go until he's straight, Kiana. Shoulder four left, and now go. Good. And now collect. And now go forward for the change. So boom. That's right. The change has to be the first stride that hits the rail. So we want to see more collection before the turn. By turning, you get more sitting, but we don't reward you for that. That's an exercise. So we want to see clearly that you can collect the horse on the straight line. Good girl. That's all right, not to worry. That's one of those things, if you try to correct it, you just make it worse. So. That one was better. Good girl. Uh-huh. Now he has to stand there. Just take your legs off, kind of breathe. Take a deep breath. Good. And then go forward. Good girl.